So we know some of the benefits of riding wider tires on our road bikes. Fewer punctures, better comfort, lower rolling resistance. The other day I was riding and I had a deer run out in front of me and I had to jump on the brakes super fast to make sure that I didn't hit him. But it got me thinking. I was wondering if I was running a 32C tire versus a 28C tire versus a 25C tire, what would actually happen? Would I be able to brake faster? With road bike manufacturers going almost exclusively to discs, road bikes can take such big tires. So I think that I know the answer to what's gonna be the outcome of this video, but we gotta put it to the test. That's right, folks. It's time for a little bit of GCN science. All right, so for this ultra scientific test that we're about to do, we do have some rules. First of all, we're gonna come ripping down this hill at 3 different, very seriously calculated speeds. 30 kilometers an hour, 40 kilometers an hour, 50 kilometers an hour, which is about 20, 25, and 30 miles per hour. It's the Global Cycling Network, bear with me. We're gonna get on the brakes. If I skid, we're tossing the result. And we're gonna do 3 runs on each tire. We're gonna average the distance that we go on each tire, and then that's how we're gonna find the winner. Who stopped the shortest, who took the longest. The only thing I'm not looking forward to is having to climb this thing like 50 times. This is steep. All right, so I'm gonna pump these up to about 5 bar or 75 PSI. That's what I normally run my tires at, and I think that should give us a good idea of how these stop. All right, so we're gonna start out with the 32C tires going down this 20 miles per hour. We'll mark it with the chalk when we get down there. Underlay, 20 miles per hour. Okay, all right, first one done. All right, that was the exact same spot all 3 times for this at 20 miles per hour. So let's mark it down. 20, 32, and I guess that's about there. Very scientific, like I said. So that is exactly 26 feet, 8 inches. All right, now we're gonna do 30K or 25 miles per hour. See what we get. Okay, whew. We're gonna need some new brakes after this. Oh. Whew. All right, we'll measure that up and we'll mark it down. That's 32, 40K per hour. All right, we'll leave that there. All right, last one for this one. All right, so now we're gonna go 50K per hour or 30 miles per hour, approximately. One of the things that we didn't plan for was the fatigue that I was gonna be feeling after having to climb this hill so many times. I think we should have talked to the producers about this. Let's do some conclusions on this then. What do we got? What do we got? All right, we got to swap some tires, so going down to the 28Cs now. All right, so we just are looking at the first mark that we set for 20 miles an hour with the bigger tire, with the 32C. That was right here. So I'm about, I don't know, maybe 2-3 inches past that with this tire. So, well, we got a little something interesting happening here. We're gonna keep going. We got a couple more runs on this to see where we're at with 20 miles an hour or 30 kilometers per hour.
As you can see, I've got my weight over the rear wheel of the bike considerably.
as I got going faster and faster, over 50 kilometers an hour, it was taking me almost 20 plus meters to stop fully. So some good braking advice would be to get your weight back behind the saddle and practice this because it looks easier than it is. We're seeing a trend. I don't know how to say this, but we're just a couple inches past X marks the spot on the test with the 32s. So our very scientific test may just in fact be really scientific. All right, so here we go. So this was the 28 at 30 kph. All right, so we're going up to do the 40 kilometer test now. See what we end up with. So that was where we had our 32s. This is where our 28s are. So at a faster speed, we are seeing probably about double at that, at 30 kilometers an hour to 40 kilometers an hour, we're seeing about double the stopping distance. If it was 8 inches, it's now about 16 inches further. So I'm gonna call that right here. We're gonna put a line there and we'll get the numbers figured out after this. 21, 24, 27, 30. Ooh, those are smoking. Okay, it's scary. That's, whew, I'm glad that the brakes work. Okay, let's do the second run. I mean, I have to say the 50-32 tire versus the 50 kilometer 28 tire, it's a little bit, it takes a little bit longer to stop on a 28C versus a 32C going 50 kilometers an hour. All right, let's do this test. 8, 11, 14, 17, 19, getting it down to 20, 23, 21, 18, 19, there we go. First test right here. So I'm just gonna put a mark here, guess best of 3, so 2 more to go. All right, so we're seeing some pretty consistent test results. This was the 32, this was the 28, and this is the 30. So boom, boom, boom. Yeah, seeing some pretty consistent results. Let's see what this next test brings. I have a feeling that it's gonna be somewhere in this vicinity. Okay. All right, so we've got 3 spots here on this 40 kilometer an hour test with the 25s. If we split the difference on those, again, that's gonna be about, yeah, that's still gonna be about a foot and a half past where the 28 was. So I'll mark this down here. That was our 25, 40. Okay. All right, last test, 50 kilometers an hour on the 25C tires. That one landed right on the spot. I mean, that's literally, you know, what is it? Maybe an inch past there? Okay, well, that's what I think. I'll call that good. All right, team. So, we gotta measure this up. We gotta get some results. Okay, so you guys can see that we've got all of the numbers over here. We used our very serious scientific GCN algorithms to come up with all of these very accurate readings. But in all seriousness, I think that we did get some pretty overwhelming evidence that the 32C tire does stop faster, especially when we were going at that 50 kilometers an hour, 40, 30. I think it was an honest test. I mean, we gave it a good shot, and I think that we've got some tangible results. I mean, the 32s definitely stop faster than the 25C tires, without a question. Now, I was saying that this came to my mind because I was braking for a huge deer that had run out in front of me and I had to jump on the brakes. Let us know down in the comments if you're buying tires based on their size to be able to stop faster. I'd be curious to know if anyone is actually doing that. I mean, the results aren't negligible. There is a decent amount of distance that you actually save. Now, I don't know if that would actually save you from a crash or not, or from hitting something like an animal, but hey, you never know. Leave us a comment down below. Let us know. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time.